According to Abraham Maslow, clothing is one of the three basic needs of the human species. Little wonder then that the clothing apparel business has become modern economy's most visible, most versatile, and most prolific industry. On this episode, we journey to Africa's third largest city, Ibadan, southwest Nigeria, to engage with the promoters of a fast-growing fashion apparel manufacturing business so as to understand the variables and dynamics which could, would, and should play out when one seeks to succeed in the clothing apparel manufacturing business. Welcome, CEO, Kiram Lee Group, Ambassador Romoke Ayinde. Ambassador Ayinde, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, sir.
Why apparel production?
The apparel production started when I discovered that mostly when we travel out of the country, I see a lot of things, the garments, all those things that we can make it here. Why using such money to buy goods and bring it back here? We can also do well like these people. How can we do it? I started looking for the way I can get the facts about what they are doing over there. That's prompted me to travel to China. When I get to China, I visited like 3 companies in China where they are doing very, very massive production. On getting there, I have to understudy them for like 3 weeks because I've booked an appointment with them that I'm coming and I'm going to do this within so period of time. So I got to know that specialization is well recognized here. Not just I'm a fashion designer, just start producing dresses, and if they ask you what area do you specialize there, I'm expert in both male, female, children.
So for you, it was an annoyance when you travel abroad and you see all the garments in the stores. You were annoyed that we weren't producing them here in Nigeria. Rather, we import such materials into the country.
Because I believe we can do better than that.
And what gave you that conviction that we can actually do this better than the foreigners?
Because I know that Nigerians, they are very good. But the only thing where we are lacking is to accept them, or to believe, to have confidence in them that they can do this. They believe that they cannot do it.
But you didn't have a background in fashion or tailoring. How did you decide to embrace it? Where did you get the courage?
I just decided that if I understudy them, I learn this thing, I will definitely be good at it so that I can do better.
So where did you get that courage from? A lot of us feel strongly about certain ideas, but we tend to lack the willingness or the courage or the boldness to pursue our ideas.
One thing about me, I don't get tired in everything I'm doing.
So from the time when you conceived the idea of going into apparel production business and now that is the reality, what were the steps you took?
First, I make sure that I took to their advice over there in China.
You traveled to China?
I traveled to China and I spent like 3 weeks. The first time I traveled, second time I spent like another 2 weeks just to know the rudiment of this job. Because one thing, if I want to do any business at all, after the farming business has failed me, there are some things that I normally put into consideration if I want to dabble into any business. For instance, I always look at the SWOT analysis before I go to any business. Even if I want to plant ordinary pepper in the farm now, I have to follow the rules.
Okay.
Number one,
procedure.
Yes, the procedure that, okay, this thing, I would like to know whether the season before it, before I go into it, when am I going to harvest it, the duration, all those things, then the market where I will sell it.
So the first thing you did when you took the decision that you wanted to go into this kind of business was to travel to where it is renowned for production, and you went to China to understudy the manufacturers. How did you know who to go to?
I
mean, you couldn't just have landed in China,
no.
At the airport in China.
When I was having that idea, I called on someone, and the person said the only way to have a good knowledge about this thing is to travel to China. I now told my husband. My husband has a friend over there. He called him and explained everything to him. He said no problem, that anytime I'm ready, he's going to book appointment with those factories so that I can visit the place. In actual fact, on the day that I'm supposed to go to the factory, the work was delayed because of me.
Really?
Because they want to do massive cutting.
In your presence?
It's the engine that they are going to use. I also have it here with me. So they're supposed to cut around maybe 9 or 10 a.m. just because of the distance from where the hotel to the factory. I was given that privilege that they should wait for me. So on getting there, they said they will have started since morning, and they have a lot to do.
So you contacted someone in China?
Yes.
Who helped you to locate a factory?
Yes.
And then the relationship began. And they agreed to show you the rudiments.
Yes, of course.
Which took you to China for 3 weeks.
Yes.
Understudying them. So you went to school, as it were.
Exactly. It's just like going for a course. So I just have to understudy them and make sure that I follow the procedure so that I can get the results exactly the way they are doing over there. It was then I got to know that there is just specification, division of labor. The person that is ironing is there. That is what he is employed for. The person that is weaving, that is what he's doing. Those who are sewing, that is what they are doing. And others like that. There are some on the system that they will design. They will use the carton to cut into those sizes. They will now put it on the hanger. So with record there, they will be following it. After that, I have to do procurement training as well. That to get the material is another issue on its own. You may have everything in stock and the client may need another color. How to convince them, and if that one did not work, how to get good material so that at the end of the day, when you saw the material, you won't have problem with the clients. That one is very, very paramount to them, that the procurement is number one, and the accounting section, they have to take me there as well to know about you do the accounts. If somebody call for any order now, just note it down, the percentage of the payment, everything, then date of delivery, the balance must come in and it must be entered into the system. All those things, I work in the accounting section, the procurement section, as well as the factory.
Coming up. So after you learn the education, the next thing would be for you to set up.
Yes.
Is that what you did immediately?
The finishing section, in actual fact, I worked there for 2 days.
In the finishing section?
Finishing section. They hang all the finishing product there. So I have to check inside the jacket. There is a paper there like this, just like an invoice. I don't know how they just use their character to write on it.
Yeah.
The essence of doing that is to know if that person in charge really check those things before they pack it for the final delivery. So I was checking it. It was on the left side of the jacket. It got into a stage, I didn't see it on the left one. I just want to put it back. Something just came to my mind, let me check the other side. I decided to check the other side, I got it there.
Wow.
Meaning that if I've just packed that, I've checked it the left side and I didn't get it, it means that I did not do the work very well. So it's just like a test. So I have to run that throughout the day. After that, I took it to the place where they will pack it. That this thing is going to the Germany. The specification of each country is different with what they will make there, with what they will produce for them. If you say this is what you want, that is the specification you are going to be given. The one that they are taking to the other places is quite different from that. It all depends on the specification.
So you were taken through the rudiments.
Yes.
From design to the final finished product. And you were trained on procurement and accounting.
As well as accounting.
And I'm sure you must have also been trained about inventorizing how
everything.
to conduct your inventory. Yes. We'll come to all of those details later on. So after you learn the education, yes. The next thing would be for you to set up.
Yes.
Is that what you did immediately?
Not immediately.
Okay.
After I've gone for the training and everything,
yeah.
I started looking for money to procure the machines, the key equipment that I'm going to use, because it's very, very important. After getting the materials, all the equipment.
Was language not a barrier for you?
It's not a barrier because I was able to speak French with some other people there, because I don't understand their this thing, and I can't start learning that one. That one will take a lot of time. Even the man that was assigned for me to put me through on the machine and some other thing to show me the machine. So my the friend of my husband there got someone there that understands English.
Okay.
For me. If I say something,
translator.
He will translate it. Then with the little knowledge I have about French, I was able to communicate with those who understand French. Yes.
Did you have to pay for the training?
I did.
Okay.
So they have to wait for me till I come, so that they will do it once, yes. And I'll be able to see it, because it's a massive one. Like, you know, they want to produce like 50,000 pieces. They just bale like this. You now put the machine, it will cut it off, then they will pack it and put it, maybe the...
So the same time spent cutting one clothing?
Yes, it
is the same time you
1,000
spend cutting 50,000.
They will just put the machine...
And that saves you, I mean, the production cost, the time, the man hour, and all of those things are saved.
Gradually reduced.
Because 50,000 at once, you cut it, while with the tailor down the street,
just be using scissors.
He's still cutting 10 pieces one by one. And you learned that from them.
Yes,
You also learned about division of labor.
Yes.
And specialization in the factory. For some person, it is just the button that he will be tacking.
Yes.
As we gathered. And that's what he will do for the rest of his life.
That is it.
For another person, it's just for him to wet the clothing. Another is just to iron. So when you look at the economics of division of labor, you will realize also that it's going to bring down the cost of production significantly.
Exactly.
So these are some of the tricks and secrets
behind
the cheap production cost of the Chinese products, and that's why a lot of our factories and producers cannot compete with them. I'm beginning to see that as a benefit already, even before you went into it, that one of the reasons why our homemade goods cannot compete with the ones from some of those Asian countries is because their cost of production has been so brought down that, you know, and I'm sure you will tell us some of the other issues as we go along. Well, how did you raise the capital to start the factory?
It took me like 2 years after I visited the place to gather money to buy the equipment. You know, it's a lot of money.
2 years?
Yes. After learning it, every procedure, everything about it, I've learned it, but despite that, I'm still...
So in those 2 years, what were you doing to keep the skill alive?
I am into other business here. So I still believe that one day I'm going to meet up with the...
Were you importing to sell the apparels?
No.
You just kept your knowledge and skill base to yourself.
So I just look at the whole thing that whenever it's time, I know I'm going to start the business. So I started buying it bit by bit. And
take us through the chain in the business. We've learned now about procurement of materials, buying the right textile that will give you the end result that you desire or that the client has ordered for.
Yes.
You've also told us about division of labor. You've told us about how the equipment help to mass produce. You've talked about order taking, accounting. What about distribution?
It's another thing that...
Were you trained about distribution as well?
Yes, everything holistically.
Okay.
I was taken around where they procure the material, because it's another journey on its own. Yeah. It's outskirts, the place we went to then. So we booked an appointment with them. So we were told to come the following day. So we went there. You know, it took us like 3 hours to get to the place. On getting there, they explained to us everything. In actual fact, he was telling me that a lot of things that I've learned here, if I did not impact it on my business, I can't get the results. Like, you know, I said earlier that the person that is ironing will be ironing. I just asked them that, is it every day that the guy will be coming? So the following day, the guy did not come. I said, why? He said, off day. Because those are the things. And there's some fringe benefits that you need to give them. If you don't give them, they will fail. Now, the production that they are making that particular time, they said, is because they are in the dry season, that during the winter. They needed those things for winter, not the present.
So they are already preparing in the dry
during
season.
The winter now, they will have their holiday. All of them, there are many in the factory. There are about 40 in the factory. They said everybody, they will send them out of the country. They will go for their holiday, and as well as break time. When it is break time, despite the fact that they were expecting me that I'm there in particular, that they have to take me around, they will say this is break time between 12 and 1. So everybody will vacate the factory. So the same thing I'm doing.
Were you jotting down as you were learning?
I'm jotting down everything, because then, you know, there are some things that if you miss it, to get it back because of the language barrier.
Yeah.
So I have to jot down and record as well, so that later I still have the clips on my phone, so that I will just go there, go through there.
So you were not interested in going to bring the finished products in like many of our people do.
No.
Instead, you went to understand the rudiments. You also went to learn the discipline.
Yes.
And you also ensure that you learn how the precision and detailing is done. Because for people to produce now what is going to be needed 6 months' time, there's a lot of planning that has to go into it. Take us through the journey of planning your production.
Thank you. For instance, now, this is Christmas period.
Yeah.
It's around the corner. For the past 2 months now, we have been on it. That is exactly what I learned from them.
So you've been producing for Christmas season
for the past 2 months.
Long before now.
So now, just finishing touches, you know, and unless those who are just coming to book or to make order. But there are some things that we have done that we just at a tip just.
So you need to be far-sighted if you are going into this business.
Exactly.
You think ahead, you plan ahead, you produce ahead.
Yes.
That's what I'm learning now.
Yes.
So it's not a business like, you know, the usual fashion designing that we do in our country here. You wait for customers to make their orders, or you produce and wait for people who are going to buy. But we're talking here about mass production. So if it's not an order, you have to project ahead. And somebody told me once that the difference between the way we plan here and the way they plan in other climes is we start from the beginning to the end. Whereas in other climes, they start from the end to the beginning. So when they want to plan, they plan from the end result and plan backwards. But we plan from the goal to the next till we get to the end. And that's what you seem to be telling us here now, that in the apparel production business, you plan from the end backwards. Which brings me to the next question. I mean, business is about selling. And in the apparel business, which is the mass production business, distribution is key so that you keep your warehouse empty. You don't want to stock stuffs in your warehouse and keep them there. How do you work with distribution in a country like Nigeria where the infrastructures are not so impressive?
Thank you. You know, I said it earlier that for the past 2 months we have been working on the Christmas gift and some other stuff, because we know the usual thing that is needed for the Christmas.
During Christmas
it doesn't apply to other season.
Okay.
You know that, okay, during Christmas time, you know, the red material, green, the souvenir, you know, all sorts of, because if you are planning to have this, we can show you other things that you may be interested. So once we have it in stock, it won't be impromptu that you just be running around, and at the same time you may have like half of what they requested for, and we will not be able to get that particular material during Christmas. So in order to avoid that, not to disappoint our clients, we just make sure we stock things early enough.
Yeah, I understand that. When you stock your warehouse, the ultimate plan is to discharge into the market. How do you identify your markets before you produce?
Before the production, we will go out there to do our research. Okay, what are the things that people need outside there? We will have gotten an idea of what they really want
what
outside
the market
there.
wants.
What the market, then the market survey will give us a lot of things about what the clients really want.
Do you use consultants for that, or you conduct your survey in-house? Oh, you have your marketing team.
Yes, we have them. They will go out there. They will go out to know what are the things that that is in vogue. What are the things that when we produce it, we won't have problem with it, so that it won't stay long in the store.
Warehouse.
So all those things, we will have done that before we proceed
Produce.
in production.
So it starts with market survey first.
Yes.
Before you begin to design and produce.
Exactly.
Coming up.
Sell it out.
Is it just by production and selling alone that you earn revenue? Are there other means of making money in this business? Having identified the market, after production, which channel do you use to push the finished products into the market?
One, we advertise. Despite that we have the team marketing for us,
Yeah.
we advertise.
Yeah.
With the advertisement, people will listen to it and say, okay, hello, is this the company that is, yes, this is Licut. Okay, we are into massive production, then how can we help you? So we'll be able to take his or her order.
So you use adverts.
Yes, we use adverts.
Is it traditional media alone that you use, or you use what we call social media these days, the new media?
We use both.
Oh, both are used.
We use both. This is jet age. Anything on Instagram or this thing easily get across to everybody. So we use it as well.
Now we'll come to marketing in detail later on, but I still want to explore the area of how you push the manufactured apparel products into the market. You've talked now about advertisement, using traditional media and new media. What other forms of marketing do you do? Do you do cold calls, like knocking on the doors of people you believe should be able to distribute your products?
We do that as well.
Oh, okay. Because
we are talking about mass production. We can't start hawking it. We have to use every channel that we believe that it will make it move. So before we start producing, we have done our research, so we'll be able to go out there, you go this way, you go that way. Before you know it, we discharge everything.
Yeah, you're just making it look so simple and easy peasy, like I'm having shawarma and a bottle of cold bottle of Coke. But we know that it's not like easy peasy like that. At least especially for some of us, and that's why we will appreciate if you will break it down for us.
It's not easy, like you said.
The marketing process. How do you do it? I assume you know the markets, you know the traders, you know their language, and you also know their location. So you have a list, and you will have your distribution points, as well as your agents and dealers and what have you. But if you don't break it down, this program is not going to be able to achieve its objective, which is to help those who want to learn modern entrepreneurship out there. It's like a business class. That's what this program is all about. Besides the fact that we want to celebrate entrepreneurs that are doing well, besides the fact that we want to showcase innovative businesses, the third objective of the program is to teach Africans how business is conducted in contemporary times. For example, a tailor watching us out there now, I want to believe that the tailor will be thinking to herself, okay, because what they do in the tailoring shops these days are, when you have 10 orders, you distribute it among your apprentices and journeymen, you will make 2 buba, you make 3 buba, you make 1, you make 4. So one person will make the buba from start to finish. But you've been able to point out to us today now that to bring down the cost of production, to reduce the number of hours of production, among other things, you only need to cut the process of production into areas of specialization. If one person is handling sleeves alone, it will be much more efficient. It can churn out much more number of sleeves per day. And that for me is one lesson that modern entrepreneurs can take home, fashion designers particularly. You've also told us that the procurement aspect is critical. If you don't get the fabrics right, you might miss out on so many other things. You've also been able to tell us that distribution outlets, distribution channels is key. And this we have learned, which we appreciate. But I need you to touch very, very comprehensively on the issue of marketing, because that's what business is all about. It's about selling. I know that one major revenue stream, as you have explained to us now, is when you finish manufacturing the factory, you churn it out into the identified points in the markets, both formal and informal markets, where you push it into wholesalers and retailers who get it onwards to the customers. What are the other revenue streams that your company explores by way of selling and generating revenue?
I said it earlier on that we make sure that we know what people want outside there, so that we will not have gluts. But at the same time, our prices are reasonable enough, very cheap, because mostly
comparatively.
Because if the price is too high, even the wholesalers, they will not be able to avoid it.
That's true.
Because to sell it, they want to make profit as well. So we make sure that the price is reasonable.
How do you achieve that?
We achieve that, we are producing
because you produce massive.
So
you enjoy economies of scale.
Exactly. So that's why we are able to do that. And with that, once we produce, we are able to sell it out.
Is it just by production and selling alone that you earn revenue? Are there other means of making money in this business?
Yes, because we do branding as well.
Oh, now you're talking.
So I want everything to be
so you can brand souvenirs for organizations.
We brand souvenirs, bags. We produce bags as well. We brand everything, cap, mug, all those.
So that's another revenue stream.
Yes, that's another.
And I bet you do that in the hundreds of thousands.
Very massive one.
Do you have the equipment to make them in millions as well?
Yes, we have. Oh. We have the monogram machine. We have the flex machine and flux. We can do different, like this one that is standing here is flex design.
The sports.
Yes, that's so it's flex that we use. Before, we used to go out there after producing to look for who we can get this, and they disappoint at times. So I now look at the whole situation that the best thing is to get every equipment that we will be using.
So that you will have control over your production process. So we've identified 2 revenue streams. Producing and mass selling into the market, branding souvenirs for organizations, producing and branding. Which other revenue stream do you have?
At times, we do have our clients that they will come that say, okay, can we consult for consultancy? We do that as well.
Oh, that's also a revenue stream.
It's another source of
training.
Yes, we
consultancy.
Train. Yes, they will ask me what can we do? We want to start this business of yours, so now we put them through.
But aren't you afraid that you're training people to compete with you?
The sky is the limit. Like I said earlier, if you see what is happening in China, everybody is doing
just churning out.
So
you're convinced that the market is big enough?
It's big enough
to accommodate
so they
everybody.
Can't take my clients and I can't take theirs. So it depends on your production that will determine how.
So besides training and consulting, are there other revenue streams you'd like to share with us before we move on?
That is it.
I also reckon that orders will be placed
from
some persons, and that will also be a revenue stream.
Of course, yes.
And also, I've been able to gather that you're also trying to explore events. Is that true? Because we did our investigation before coming over, and we were told that you brand sports people, you brand sports organization. Besides that, you have a Keramli gym and fitness outfit. You also brand sportsmen and sports organizations. You supply them. But that even as Christmas is coming, you are already talking with some organizations you want to collaborate with, wherein some of these your Christmas productions, you can use them to service. You want to have events that will hold during the Christmas season. Is that correct?
Yes, we are trying to give back to the society as well, that let them see what is over there, that people do go abroad and see other things. There are some things that we've just gotten some ideas that we can impact on some people. They will see it.
People here.
So let's organize it and let people see the difference.
Now, you strike me as someone who loves to diversify a lot. Right from the beginning, when you were into catering, and you recognized early on that if you stayed in a mono product of baking cakes alone, your earning will be seasonal. And you didn't want a seasonal earning. You wanted to earn on a recurrent basis. So you diversified into other culinary products. Now you seem to be doing the same with this apparel production business.
Of course, yes.
Is that what you're advising our people to do more often?
Yes, not to base on a particular profession. Just make sure that that thing you want to add to it, it goes along with what you are doing.
That it has to be related.
We are not talking like, take for instance now, when I started the catering business and I discovered that it's no more profitable the way I look at the whole thing, I begin to have issue with finances. I said, okay, what can I do about this thing? I added small chops to it. Not that I will add chemical to it. The chemical does not go in line with catering business. Yeah, so by doing that, they are not related. You make sure that you do something that is related to the business, the existing business.
So that you preach diversification, but in a synergistic manner,
yes,
in a related manner. And it's paying off, I want to believe.
Yes.
I like the way you smile. It's a confirmation of what we think is going on here. Now, branding is critical to success in today's business. How would you describe your branding strategy?
It was when we were talking about branding that my husband and I rubbed minds together and we decided to choose the name.
Keram.
Keram is the initial of my husband and I, and Lee is my son's nickname, because my husband gives everybody another name, like English name or Chinese, anyone. Everybody. So I said, my first son, let's use Lee, because we call him Lee. So now
because the first time I came in contact with your brand identity, I thought it was a foreign brand because of the Lee.
It wasn't.
But later on, when I started to do my research, and I found out that it's actually a Nigerian, an African that owns the company. And I said, okay. When I got to know of your first name, Romoke, I said, okay, the Rom, now I understand.
K is
what
Kayode.
About the K? I said, okay, maybe Kayode. But the Lee, where did it come from?
It's my son.
Today,
Lee.
now, you have solved that puzzle for me, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Why did you think that name would catch on with your target market?
My husband is a kind of person that doesn't like common name.
Yep.
Just any name.
But was it just about what you liked, or what will resonate with the market?
At least when my husband was trying to put the name together, I said at least people will begin to be inquisitive about Lee that is present in the name. Was. Like you said now.
I was.
So my husband said, let's put Lee there, because initially we said Keram. Now I said Keram Lee. So that's how
And I want to say that it really resonates well with me as a person. It gives us a global feel. Actually, it's a blend of, you know, what's funky, what has vibes, what has swags, like our young people will say today, and the Lee gives it that Oriental flavor, which all adds up to apparel production business and some of the other businesses that this organization is involved with. So now we're clear about the brand identity. Let's go to the next question, which is procurement. You underwent some training in procurement from your Chinese trainers back in the day. Tell us how you source for materials for production, fabrics, textiles, and what have you.
You know, that procurement issue is a very complex issue because nothing must be wrong with the procurement. Once it's wrong, it will affect the whole thing, and
because it's the genesis of the production
of the production, and you know we are into massive production, and if anything went wrong, that is the end of everything. So with that
batch,
yes, everything will be condemned, and
the
it's
cost
a loss
of that is
to the,
it can ruin the company.
Yes. So because of that, I just have to go through that rudiment, how to know to detect a good fabric, the texture. You know, there are what they call imitation.
Yeah.
If you do the original, you do fake.
Yeah.
So how to detect that? How to know the one that we fade in the few months? You know, all those things. I just have to go through that, and I was taught on how to select material before I go into the business.
How do you identify which material is fake, which is original?
You know, the texture, it matters most. In most of the time you want to buy material, you look at the texture, then there is this particular kit that they use. They just use it to rub the face of the material. It will bring wool like this. Before you know it, it's fake, and it's going to be, the wool will be coming out.
You just rub
very
it over
soon.
the material.
So once you rub it on the surface, it shows you that this is not a quality. You won't say anything. Just go ahead and do another thing.
Wow.
So those are the things that.
What about those that were fast? That the color or the dye will fade out at 1 or 2 washing. How do you identify that?
You know, when you want to select in the market, even in especially at their market there, over there, you can detect such with putting just a drop of water in your hand and rub it with that material. Then you will see changes. So with that, you can detect this
drop
one.
Of water. What about the quality of the threadings?
You know, here we do just go to the market and buy thread.
Yeah.
And it's not like that. There are some that has expired. Once it's expired, it will be breaking. It will break. It will make the work too slow.
Wow.
We have expired thread in the market. If you don't know, you just buy it. So you need to know about that too.
Okay.
Once it expires.
What about the accessories that you fixed on the clothing? Because I saw quite a number of accessories. In fact, accessories tends to make up apparels these days.
So we do buy that as well too.
So where do you source for all these things?
I will go to the market where I can buy the genuine one, because I know.
Tell us about those markets.
You know, in China, if you get to the market, they have, you know, departmental stores where you can buy this thing, and there are some factory in which they produce that thing in a large quantity, and once you want to buy in a large quantity, you go to those.
So you stock from China?
I do.
Basically.
I do.
What about the local markets?
The local market here is when a client come in and just, I need this thing, go and buy. Okay, if you cannot procure it by yourself, okay, you want us to buy it. This is it. We first bring the sample. Are you okay with the sample? Because if it's not okay, we say you are the one that bought it, and I can't trust the market there. You know, they will tell you that this thing is superior, it's not inferior. Before you know it, you discover that it's fake.
Integrity.
So, and I don't want anybody to just tag me with the name of that. You see the fake material that he bought for me. I don't even like that.
So you give the samples to the client first to
yes,
a certain.
We do the sample, and
once they approve of it,
you approve
then
it,
you're not going to
we go ahead.
Coming up. When you were growing up, did you envisage that you were going to end up as a businesswoman like this?
I don't even think about it at all.
Let's move on from there and look at things about the pricing strategy. I mean, you procure materials, you put them together in the factory, your overhead goes on salaries and what have you, power. How do you fix the prices for your products? Because they're so numerous.
It depends on the kind of products that, the service we are rendering you. If you come now, you want to make this, the price varies.
Okay.
It's not fixed price.
So how do you determine what price to fix on the product?
It depends. The quantity we determine first.
Quantity.
The quantity first, then the material. To source for the material, maybe it's a very expensive material. We have to consider that as well.
Okay.
We can't buy it 15 naira and sell it 20 naira.
Naturally.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
So those are the things.
So the higher the quantity, as I reckon,
the lower
the
price.
So what I'm getting, the impression I'm getting is that when you want to fix your prices, you just look at your cost of production and then you do a markup. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. I know there are other things you do in terms of your price fixing, but which you may not want to divulge because of your competitors. That's understandable, and we'll take that in good faith. But when the cameras stop rolling, I will still come to learn your strategies for fixing your prices. I mean, you don't want to divulge that on air, I can understand. Let's also look at your background as a person. What is it about your background? Tell us about growing up years. Because we want to try to see if there is something or if there are things about your background which produce the persona that we have today.
I was born in the compound of Adetunji at Idikan, Ibadan interior, the interior of Ibadan. My late father, Azan Adebayo Adetunji. My mom, Alaja Abiodun Adetunji.
Were they traders or businessmen?
My dad does a lot when he was alive. He was among the first set of people that worked with Redivision Okeare.
Oh.
They call him Babelepo. He worked with National Oil. Then the then crates for Coca-Cola. My dad was given the contracts. The Paco, the box. The boxes they use
those
then.
Wooden crates.
The wooden crates.
Back in the day.
My dad, very, very industrial.
What about your mom?
My mom is just a trader.
Yeah, would you say that those exposures, I mean, early on, seeing your dad getting involved in those creative things, in those contracts and supplies, seeing your mom handling trading and attending to customers, would you say those things formed and forged you?
Yes, it motivated me. Okay. Because then I would be looking at my dad, and my dad can diversify anytime.
Wow.
If there was a time he has lorries, 911, the lorries that they branded 911, he has about 3 or 4. He did transportation as well. So he has it with Eagle Flour Mills. Wow. So he has drivers and they do haulage. A lot of things that my dad doesn't take, no, this thing cannot work. My dad will say it will work.
So he doesn't believe in impossibility?
No.
So could it be that that's where you took your impossibility?
I think so.
Mantra, it is possible mantra from. Now it's getting nearer home. So the environment we create for our children in the home can also determine what they do in later years in terms of business and entrepreneurship. Yes. I think I like that lesson that I'm learning from you. And I also want to believe that while you were growing up, you were not just understudying them, you were also projecting into the future to have a dream of what kind of future you would have. Did you at that time think that you were going to end up in business the way, because at that time when you were growing up, it wasn't very common for Southwesterners to want to go to school and do business thereafter. We usually would want to go to school and seek employment.
White collar job.
White collar jobs, that was our vision, the average Southwesterner. So I want to know, I'm just curious, when you were growing up, did you envisage that you were going to end up as a businesswoman like this?
I don't even think about it at all. Then, I was just looking at them, the way they are doing things that when I grew up, I would just, anywhere I find myself, I should be able to cope. That was my thinking then. But it's gotten to a stage, I believe that I can't be doing office work. It won't pay me. My husband said, no. I don't like you to be going to the offices and be saying, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. So you have to stand on your own. Think of what you can do. So I started by buying things, like shirts, packing shirts and all those things that we take it to offices and sell it. I got to know that people, they will just owe you.
Wow.
Once they receive the salary, you will not see them in the office again. For like 3 months, the money accumulated to like 300,000. Then, that was 1996 or thereabouts.
That's a lot of money at that time.
I'm tired of this.
My monthly salary then was 2,600 naira.
I started complaining. My husband said, please, it's the right time for you to sit down and think of what you can do. Go and get a shop. I'm the one that said you should not do any office job, but go and get a shop. Think of what you can be selling it. So I started selling shoe and bags, then Kampala, Ankara, all those stuff. So I discovered that the clients will come in and say, you don't have blue color, and I have every color except that blue. I said, oh my God. So no sales. Hey, my God. Tomorrow, another will come. I have that color, but the size is not. Hey, say, what year will I sell all these things? I have not been able to sell the goods. When will I stock another one? I said, this thing tired me. I said, what do you want to do now? That was then I decided to go and learn catering.
Wow.
So I've been. It's been a while that I've been into.
So you did buying and selling before you went to learn catering, craft making, bake making, and from there you just started to diversify, and you didn't have such emotional pains of people owing you anymore because
no, because
you weren't hawking around offices anymore. So it was now place your order and we service you. Fantastic. Now this journey, this entrepreneurial journey, starting from hawking in offices, owning a shop, owning another shop, how would you describe the experience? Would you say that it has helped you by way of training, informal training, about modern business education?
Yes, it does a lot. Because I didn't think that I'm not involved in those things. I may not be able to cope now.
You may not be able to cope now.
Yes, I've gathered a lot of experience. No knowledge is wasted. There is no how, whatever I've gathered then, I still impact it on my present business. So it's very good.
Very philosophical and very inspirational. But before we let you go, we would like you to tell us what's the expansion plan. What's the next thing we should expect from you in the immediate future?
My vision is to be making a larger production and be sending it out of the country. I want to be exporting my goods. That I can take my goods to Dubai, to every other part of the country, that they will buy it there.
Wow.
Because I have all what it takes to do that. I have sophisticated equipment that is exactly what they are using over there to make production. It's only that I'm going to make sure that I do up to their specification. Different country with different specification when it comes to the issue of mass production. So you just have to take to that. Once you know what they want, then you can provide them. So it's good to go.
So the immediate future for you is, well, so the immediate future for this organization is for you to take this mass-produced apparel business external, outside the region of West Africa. You want to export and compete with the Asians. That's quite inspiring. And on that inspiring note, Ambassador Romo Kennedy, I want to thank you so very much for making our time of your busy schedule to be on the program today.
Thank you.
Sharing your insights with us. It's been mentally enriching. It's been eye-opening for us, and it's also been stimulating for us. We wish you all the very best.
Thank you very much.
In this endeavor and other endeavors that you'll be laying your hands on.
Thank you very much.
In the future.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
And on that note, we'd like to call it wraps of today's episode. Thank you so very much for being there with us. Until next time, it's bye for now.